Hello everybody, welcome back to American Textbook Reading. I'm Brian Stuart. We're going over lesson 4 right now in our book. We're talking about people need laws. In this unit, you will discover why citizens must follow laws. So why should they follow the law? Let's take a look though, of course, when we talk about citizens, what exactly do we mean by citizen? A citizen is a person. So a citizen is a person, it's a human being who lives and works in a community, right? We talked about community before. So a person who lives and works in a community. Are you a citizen? Yes, of course. You are a citizen of your community. You are also a citizen of your country, and that's very important. People are usually, when they think about citizens, they are citizens of different countries. But you are also a citizen in your community. This means that these people who live and work together, they are citizens. They have rights and responsibilities that they have to follow. And part of the responsibilities of a citizen is to follow the law. Now, a law is a rule that people in a community must follow. It's kind of interesting. By the way, we say a law is a rule, but is there a difference between law and rule? Actually, there is a little bit of a difference, right? Laws are more formal. Laws are made by larger groups of people, like governments. And if you break the law, the punishment is a lot stronger than if you break a rule. A rule is usually made by smaller organizations, less formal. For example, your school has rules. Your parents have rules for the family. If you break a rule in school or in your family, the punishment is probably not as strong as breaking the law. If you break a law, that's really serious punishment. But if you break a rule, it's less punishment. However, you should always obey or follow the law or the rule, right? It's the rule that people in a community must follow. The community makes those laws, okay? Now, I just said you must follow or obey those rules. Obey, another word that is very similar to that, is follow, right? Obey means to do what you are told to do. So if this girl tells the dog to do something, that dog should obey her, right? Of course, we're not dogs, we're human beings, but we can also follow or obey the laws and the rules of our community. The laws of our community, we should follow or obey the rules of our school and our families. So when we talk about rules and laws, we think about what verbs we use with those words. We use obey or follow. Obey the law. Obey the rules. Follow the law. Follow the rules. Okay? So we use obey or follow, kind of either one, it's okay, doesn't matter. And we use those words with laws and rules. So that's a very important thing. Citizens must obey the laws of the community, right? I just used 3 of the vocabulary words, and that's what we're talking about. What makes a good citizen? Okay. Now, why should we follow or obey the law? Because if we do, that means that it will be fair. Our community will be fair. Our lives will be fair. What does that mean? If something is fair, it means equal to everyone. That means that this person and this person are equal in their situation, in their opportunities, in their life. Everybody should have the equal opportunity to do what they want to. Everybody should have equal laws. Everybody should follow the same laws means that everybody is equal, everybody is fair. Equal means the same, right? If everybody is the same or everybody has the same responsibilities and everybody has the same responsibility and they follow the same rules, that will be a fair society. It will be fair. If somebody is not following the law or somebody breaks the rules, you can say, hey, that's not fair. That's not fair. If you say it's not fair, it's not equal. Somebody is trying to be better than other people. That's not fair. They should be fair. Everybody should have the same. Everybody should be the same. That's equal. That is fair. Okay. Also, another reason we should follow laws or obey the rules is because it will be safe. Safe, of course, means in no danger. Of course, we're talking about traffic laws or it's usually traffic laws. If you follow the traffic laws, people will be safe. Nobody will get hurt. It's not just traffic laws, but there are many other laws like that too, right? Don't steal, right? Somebody might hurt somebody, somebody might get in a fight. Follow the laws, obey the rules, everybody will be safe, in no danger. They will not be in danger. Also, another reason to follow laws and rules is to have a clean society, right? So we have a clean society, it means not dirty. We don't like to go out on the street and see trash and all sorts of dirty things laying around. We want our society, our streets, our neighborhood to be clean and nice to live in. So we can see there are three big reasons here to follow rules or laws. We want things to be fair, we want things to be safe, and we want things to be clean. Those are all reasons we should follow the law or obey the law. Okay, now let's talk about some other idea in relation to laws or rules. We have traffic sign here. It's a two-word vocabulary. Traffic sign. Now, a sign of course is some large poster or billboard, right, that you can see. There's some symbols and letters on it that tell you a certain thing. It has a certain meaning behind that sign. It's a sign that gives drivers and walkers information. You are probably not a driver, you're probably a walker, right? So, but when we're on the streets, we need information. We need to know what is the law. Sometimes we don't know the law. We have to look at the signs to understand what is the law. This one says the law is this street is one way. You can't drive two ways down the street. It's only one way. This sign says, okay, you can go right or you can go left, either way, but you can't go straight. This one says don't enter, do not go down this way. Maybe it's a one-way street, you don't want to go the wrong way. So drivers and people who are walkers, can see these traffic signs very quickly and know what to do, what the law is. And they obey these laws. They follow these signs, and they'll be safe and they'll be happy, right? And it'll be fair for everybody. Okay. Now, we have a bad situation here. Sometimes, of course, people might break the law, and that's not right. You shouldn't break the law. You shouldn't break the rules, right? That means to do something that laws tell us is wrong. If the law says don't do something, don't do it. This person is breaking the law. The sign says, please do not climb the hill. This person is about to climb the hill. She is breaking the law. So to break a law, you could also break the rules, right? Break the rules. That's not correct. Somebody who breaks the law, somebody who breaks the rules, they are doing something that is wrong. By the way, what do you call somebody who breaks a law? Somebody who breaks a law is called a criminal. Criminals are people who break laws. And if they're caught, the police catch them, the punishment is very strong. They go to jail, don't they? So criminals break laws. Citizens, good citizens, do not break the law. Okay, now when people break laws, they make problems. So a problem is a trouble or a difficulty, right? So when people break laws, they don't obey the rules, they're making problems for everybody else. Now, when you cause trouble, right? You cause trouble, you give somebody trouble, give trouble. Don't give other people trouble. Don't make difficulties. Make difficulties. You can also say make a problem. But you shouldn't do these things. Make difficulties. Right? So don't give trouble, right? Don't. I'll put that in big letters over here. Don't give trouble. Don't make difficulties. Follow the law. If you do these things, you're making a problem. You're making a problem. Don't make a problem, right? This lady has a problem, right? She's very upset about something. So she has a problem. Her life is difficult. She has some trouble. We don't want to have trouble. We don't want to have difficulties. So follow the laws. Don't make problems. Okay. Let's take a look at our chart here. Why must citizens follow laws? Well, we saw a little bit of those ideas, right? in the vocabulary section, right? We saw that it's important for different ideas. We want to be fair, we want to be safe, we want to be clean. Those are good reasons that we should not break laws. So we have an interesting chart here. Here we have the laws. Now if you obey them, this is what happens. If you break the law, this is what happens over here. So why should we follow the laws? Well, if you obey the laws, things are fair, things are safe, things are clean, and everybody's happy. But if you break the law, you cause problems. You give difficulties, right? There are many kinds of laws in a community. People can make or change laws. So that's interesting to note there, right? There are many kinds of laws in a community. Think about the laws in your community. If we look at these pictures, we can think about some laws, right? For example, it's a law to put your babies in a special child seat and buckle up, wear your seatbelt. It's a law not to throw trash on the ground. Don't throw trash on the ground. Those are laws. If you obey the laws, things are safe and clean. If you obey the laws, it's fair. Everybody is equal. But if you break the laws, then you cause problems. Now, of course, not all laws are good. Sometimes people make laws that are silly or that are not very effective. In that case, people can change the law. You can change the law. You can say, well, this law isn't good. To make this street a one-way street, it's too inconvenient. It causes too many people problems. So let's change the law and make the street a two-way street. You can do that. Communities get together and they can change the law. They also make the law. But remember, laws are made by communities. It's a very formal process. It takes a lot of people, sometimes a little bit of arguing, but a lot of agreement. Everybody has to come into agreement and then the law is made. It's very difficult to make laws, but once the laws are in place, we should obey the laws and not break them. Okay, let's move on. Let's match our words to the definitions. Here are our words: citizen, citizen, law, obey, fair, safe, and clean. Easy words, right? They're not very long. Let's take a look at the definitions. Number one, not dirty. What is the opposite of dirty? The opposite of dirty, of course, you know what that is. That's clean, right? If your room is dirty, your mom says, clean your room, right? Your room is dirty. Clean your room. If your hands are dirty, your mom says, clean your hands. Make your hands clean. So clean and dirty are opposites. Okay, number two, in no danger. The opposite of danger is safe. Okay, so this is kind of like opposites, right? Not dirty, clean, no danger, safe. What about this one? Number three, equal to everyone. So if everyone is equal, everyone has the same opportunity or the same rules to follow. That's equal. Everybody is equal. What do we call that situation? We say that that is fair. It's fair. When you see somebody who is breaking the law or breaking the rules, that's not fair. That's not fair. It should be fair, equal to everyone. Everybody should be equal. Everybody should follow the same laws, follow the same rules. That's fair. Number four, to do what you are told to do. If somebody tells you to do something, your mother or father tells you to do something, do your homework, wash the dishes. And you do that, what are you doing? You are obeying them, okay? So if you do what you are told to do, you are obeying another person. But of course, you can also obey the law because the law also tells you what to do, right? The law tells us what to do. We should obey the law. Number five, a rule that people in a community must follow. So I just gave you the answer. We just talked about that, right? So a rule, similar to a rule, very similar. But remember, a rule is less formal and usually for smaller groups. But the other one that's similar to rule is more formal. And if you break it, the punishment is stronger. Of course, we're talking about a law. A law is a rule that people in a community must follow. It's made by the community, made by the government of the community. Number six, a person who lives and works in a community. We are all these types of things. It's a person. Which one of these has to do with a person, people, right? Citizen is the only word that is talking about a person, right? a citizen. But when we think about it, yes, we are people, but we are also part of a community. We are part of our small village or town, city, or country. Especially when we talk about country, we are citizens of a certain country. But you can also say you're a citizen of a certain city or a certain state or a certain region. So there are different types of citizens, but usually, of course, we all talk about citizens of a certain country. We live and work in a certain community. We are citizens. Okay, let's move on to our chart. Here we have a chart that shows us signs that show the law. So in this chart, we're looking at signs. Remember, we talked about traffic signs before, but these are all types of signs. Signs that show the laws. So they are signs that tell us what to do. They help us follow the law. Here we have a sign here. This looks like a traffic sign. What is it telling us? It has a picture of a person, and then we have the bars across the street, right? So if you see these bars on the street, you know what? What do you know? You know that you can cross here. It says children cross here. Not just children, of course, but anybody. But if, of course, in your situation, you want to know, hey, I can cross here. Children can cross here. Anybody can cross here. So this is a place to cross the street. By the way, we call that place a crosswalk. If you want to cross the street, don't just cross the street anywhere. Look for the crosswalk. Look for those bars on the street. Then you can cross there. You can cross the street. Okay, here, this is an interesting sign, isn't it? It says here, calories, 90 calories from fat. It shows the different ingredients in the food. It's nutrition facts. If you go to the store and you buy something to eat or drink, it will have a label on it. This is a label. Why do all the foods and drinks have labels on them? Because it's a law. Many foods should have labels. This is a law. The community passed a law saying anybody who makes food or drinks has to put a label on it because we want to know what's in that food or drink. This way, companies don't make food or drinks that are harmful to us. We can see what's in the drink. And we know that we can trust them in that case. Because they said what's in the drink, we can find out very specifically what's in that drink. Because it's a law. Many foods should have labels on them. Okay, over here we have another sign. This sign is easy to figure out, don't you? Don't you think so? This, of course, is a very common symbol. Whenever you see something like that with a bar through it, that means do not. That means do not. And then we have a picture in there, so do not do many things, right? This is it's like two symbols. This is one symbol, and then we see a picture of an action. That's another symbol. And that means do not do whatever the action is shown in here. In this case, nobody can swim here. This is a picture of somebody swimming, right? And we see the do not. So do not swim. Nobody should swim here. Okay, so that is our chart for showing do not swim in that place. Okay, let's move on to another exercise. Complete the sentence that best describes the pictures. Okay, so we have several pictures here, and we see our sentence. Okay, well, let's just take a look at the pictures here real quick. The pictures are a family, and they are crossing the street in a crosswalk. Right? We talked about crosswalk before. So they are following the law, aren't they? They are following the law. Here we have an interesting picture, right? What are these two guys doing? Are they playing? No, they're fighting, right? They're fighting. This guy's punching the other guy in the stomach, and this other guy's poking the other guy in the eye. That's terrible, right? They are fighting. So they shouldn't do that, right? If they do that, that causes problems. Over here, this is kind of a funny picture, isn't it? We have do not. That's our symbol, do not. And what is the picture? It looks like a pet. Looks like a dog. What's the dog doing? It's going to the bathroom. Poop. Okay? So don't let your dog poop in this area. Okay? So people in a community must beep laws. Okay? They're following the law here. They're not following the law here. And this is a sign telling you what the law is. What do these pictures have in common? They show that people in a community must do what? They must follow laws. Okay? Because if we follow laws, we're safe. If we break the law, we hurt other people. And there are many different types of laws. You should also look at signs that tell you how to follow the law in your community. So people in a community must follow laws. Okay, that's very good. Okay, this is kind of cute, isn't it? Okay, be careful. If you have a dog and your dog poops on the ground, usually people have to pick it up and put it in a bag, bring it home, and then throw it away. And that's usually what people do. Okay, let's go to our true-false questions. Number 1, a citizen is a person who lives and works in a community. So a citizen is a person. That's true. A citizen is a type of person. It's people are citizens. So a citizen is a person who lives and works in a community. Does that sound right? Absolutely, it is right. It's true. A citizen is a person who lives and works in a community. Okay, number 2. Fair means equal. So that's saying fair is the same as equal, right? Fair means equal to everyone. Everyone is equal. Everyone is the same. Is that fair? You bet it's fair. That's true. Fair means equal to everyone. Absolutely. If everyone is equal, everyone has the same chance, that is fair. Okay, number 3. If you break the law, you don't obey the law. If you break laws, you obey the law. Does that sound right? No, it doesn't, because break and obey are opposites, right? You can't break the law and obey the law at the same time. That doesn't make sense, right? So that's false, right? If you break a law, you are not obeying, ing. You are not obeying the laws. If you break laws, you are not obeying the laws. That's true, but we have to change the sentence. So the number 3, that sentence is false. Okay, that wraps up the vocabulary section. Stick around. We're going to take a short break, but stick around. Don't go away. We'll come back and take a look at the reading section. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the reading section. Of course, we're continuing in Unit 4. We're talking about people need laws. Our reading section is going to be talking about why people need laws and what are the results if people follow the laws. We learned a lot of good vocabulary. Let's review that vocabulary in the reading section and talk about what the reading section is about. First of all, we have citizens are people who live and work in a community. Well, we've seen that a lot before. That's just actually a standard definition, right? That's the definition that we saw before of citizens. And that is it's not really a topic sentence, it's just a definition sentence. Citizens are people who live and work in a community. A community can be small, like a neighborhood, and large, like a city or a country. So we have a couple of sentences that define terms. First, we had a definition, what are citizens? Then we saw the word community, and then the next sentence defined what is a community. And we saw 3 examples. It can be a neighborhood, it can be a city, large like a city, or it can be a country. Okay, so we see 2 sentences, first of all, are talking about definitions. What are these things? What is a citizen? What is a community? And so we see those 2. So when someone lives in a neighborhood, he or she is called a neighborhood citizen. So that's interesting. We saw 2 sentences that give us definitions. Then we see so. So therefore, putting these 2 sentences together, when someone lives in a neighborhood, which is like a community, he or she is called a neighborhood citizen. So we put these 2 together, okay? First we talked about citizen, then we talked about types of communities, then we put both words together and we have neighborhood citizen. So, 2 sentences showing definitions, and then so, when somebody lives in this type of place, they are called a neighborhood citizen. Interesting idea. So remember, citizen is not just country, it's not just state, it can also be neighborhood citizen. Now, when they live in the United States of America, they are called American citizens. So that's another type of citizen. You have a neighborhood citizen, you also have American citizen, talking about countries, okay? Of course, different countries have different types of citizens, or you call them different names, like Korean citizen, American citizen, Mexican citizen, according to the country. Every community has laws which citizens should obey or follow. Here, finally, is what we're talking about here. This is the main idea, really. This is like our topic sentence right here. Finally, we get to it. And that's, sometimes writing passages will do that. They'll make certain definitions. They will define certain terms that you need to know first, and then they will get to the main topic of the reading passage. The main topic here, of course, is that every community has laws which citizens should obey or follow. That's really the main idea of this passage. What we read before is just definition of terms. So let's continue with our main idea. Laws help keep a community clean, safe, and fair. So we have 3 reasons for laws. Why do communities have laws? Why should citizens obey or follow those laws? Because they help keep the community clean, safe, and fair. Then we have another idea, expansion of the idea. Signs in parks say no dumping. No dumping. What does no dumping mean? That means no littering. Don't throw your trash on the ground. Another very common sign that you will see is don't litter. Don't litter. It's the same as no dumping. Also, it just means do not throw trash on the ground. On the ground. So when you are eating something, you're eating a piece of candy or you have something that's wrapped up in food, when you're finished eating, don't take that wrapper and throw it on the ground, right? Don't dump your trash, don't litter, don't throw your trash on the ground, right? Of course, you shouldn't do that, especially in parks, because parks are supposed to be clean and nice for everybody to enjoy. And if there's a lot of trash on the ground, that's not fair. Other people can't enjoy the park. Okay. Traffic signs. Okay, so we saw signs. Now we see a more specific type of sign. Traffic signs. Traffic signs tell walkers when to cross the road. They also tell drivers when to stop. So traffic signs here are telling people 2 things. One, they're telling walkers, that's the first one, when to cross the road. And 2, drivers, that's the second one, when to stop. So traffic signs tell different people different things. First, they tell walkers when to cross the road. Second, they tell drivers when to stop. Now, citizens can enjoy living in a fair community when everybody obeys the laws, right? That's kind of like a summary, or that's kind of a wrap-up. That's kind of a restatement of what they've already said, right? We've said there are citizens, people who live in a community, citizens live in a community. We have laws. Why do we have laws? To make it safe, to make it clean, to make it fair. And of course, we can enjoy living in a fair community if everybody obeys the laws. Our last sentence is about what happens if that's not true. If people don't follow the laws, what happens? In that case, if they don't follow or obey the law, and they break the law, they make problems for a community. So you don't want to make problems for the community. You don't want to cause trouble. You don't want to give other people or make difficulties for other people. You don't want to do that, right? So you want to have a nice community. You don't want to have problems. So if people don't follow the law, they break the laws, they make problems for everybody. And people are not happy. And people say it's not fair. Okay, so this is important to follow the law. Of course, the people who break laws, like I told you before, they are criminals. If they're caught, the punishment is very strong. So that's one way that we have to make sure that people follow the laws, is to punish the people who break laws. Okay, now we've come to our reading skill chart. And in this reading skill, we're talking about cause and effect. And this is a good topic to talk about, cause and effect. You know, what kinds of things will happen if we follow the laws? What kinds of things will happen if we break the laws, right? So we're talking about every community has laws. And this is true, of course. Every community, from small communities to large communities, from modern communities to like traditional communities. Think about, natives who are living in a jungle, like they're living like people lived 1,000 years ago. They still have laws, right? All communities have laws. So what we're doing here is we're taking a look at the cause, the condition, and we're looking at the result or the effect. What is the cause and what is the effect? We have several blanks here. We need to fill in the blanks with these words: problems, break, follow, or obey. So let's take a look at the cause. First one over here. If this situation is true, what is the effect? Citizens beep or beep the laws. That's a little difficult, isn't it? Because we have a lot of blanks in this sentence. Let's take a look at the effect. That will give us a clue. Citizens can enjoy a clean, safe, and fair society. So if we want this effect, if we want this result, what should citizens do with the laws? Remember, there's a couple of words that we talked about with laws. First of all, our vocabulary word was obey. Obey the law, right? And I taught you also that obey is similar or the same as saying follow. So citizens obey or follow the laws. We looked at that in the vocabulary section, right? We saw obey, and I said you can also use follow. It doesn't matter. You obey the law, you follow the law. It doesn't matter which word you use. It's the same idea. By the way, you can also use these verbs with rule. Citizens or people obey the rules, or people follow the rules. Okay? So laws and rules are similar. Obey and follow are similar. Okay, if people do this, this is the effect, right? And down here, citizens beep the laws. We have a blank here, and then we have a blank here. Citizens make beep for a community. But of course, our words that we have left are break and problem, so that helps us out. Well, this is the opposite case, right? Citizens can obey the laws, or citizens, what's the opposite of obeying or following the law? The opposite, that of course is break. If you break the law, that is the opposite of following or obeying the law. So if citizens break the law, if this is the cause, right? If this is the condition, what is the effect? What is the result? Citizens make what? Problems for a community. Absolutely. And this is why we shouldn't break laws, because when people break laws, people make problems for the community. So to be good citizens, we shouldn't break laws. Okay, so this is a good reading skill chart showing cause and effect. What happens if we follow the laws? We have clean, safe, and fair society. What happens if we break the laws? We make problems in our community. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now we have our reading comprehension questions. How well do you remember what we talked about in the reading passage? Let's go over the different questions here. Number one, we have a blank beep. Starts off with a beep, right? Beep are people who live in a community. So basically, we're looking at A, B, and C. A, B, and C has to describe people, has to describe a type of person. Now, not just people, but we also sometimes have to look at the other part, people who live in a community. Here we have A, neighborhoods, B, citizens, C, laws. So which one of these words describes people? Are neighborhoods people? No, neighborhoods are places, so that doesn't fit. Citizens, are citizens people? Yeah, that's true. Is it true for the rest of the sentence? Citizens are people who live in a community? Yes, absolutely. Citizens are people who live in a community. That fits. Let's look at C for practice. Laws. Are laws people? No, laws are not people. That doesn't fit. So our right answer is B, because citizens are people, and they are people who live in a community. Let's move on to number 2. Traffic signs tell drivers when beep to do something, right? We needed some verb clause here, right? So traffic signs tell who? Tell drivers. What do drivers need to know from traffic signs? Traffic signs tell drivers when what? A, to stop, B, to dump, C, to be clean. Okay? Well, if we just take a look at these answers, we see that A is the correct answer, right? Traffic signs tell drivers when to stop, not when to dump. Drivers shouldn't be dumping trash out of their cars. That's obviously not right. And traffic signs tell drivers when to be clean? Oh, this traffic sign, it says be clean. Yeah, I am kind of dirty. Well, that's strange, right? So that would be very weird too. Of course, traffic signs tell drivers when to stop. They see the stop sign or they see the red traffic light at an intersection. Okay, so traffic signs tell drivers when to stop. Let's move on to number 3. Every community has laws which, okay? So we're talking about laws which do something, okay? What about these laws? What's true about these laws? We got A, B, or C, long answers. So first of all, laws which citizens should break and not follow. So that sounds great, right? Every community has laws which citizens should break. Citizens should break the laws. They shouldn't follow the laws. No, that's silly. No, absolutely not. Citizens should not break and not follow the laws. That's not correct. How about B? Laws which B, citizens should obey or follow. Oh, that sounds better. That sounds a lot better than A, right? They should obey the laws. They should follow the laws. Remember, obey or follow, same words really. B is the correct answer. You obey or follow the laws. Every community has laws which people should obey or follow. C, citizens should make for others. That's kind of weird. Every community has laws which citizens should make for others. That doesn't make sense because if the community already has a law, it's already made. So it doesn't make sense. It's a kind of a nonsense answer. Number 4, when someone lives in a neighborhood, okay, when someone lives in a neighborhood, then we have they are. They are called in all 3 answers. So we need to know what are they called if they live in a neighborhood. So A, they are called an American citizen. Well, what if the neighborhood is not in America? They're not American citizens, so that doesn't make sense. B, they are called a good citizen. If you just live in a neighborhood, are you a good citizen? Just living in a neighborhood doesn't make you good? No, unfortunately not. You have to do certain things to be a good citizen, not just live somewhere, right? When someone lives in a neighborhood, they are called a neighborhood citizen. Ah, that's true. That's what we saw in the reading, right? Coming back to B, they are called a good citizen is not true because someone who lives in a neighborhood and follows the laws, then it would be good citizen. But we don't see that. We just see only this. Only live in a neighborhood. If they just live in the neighborhood, they are called a neighborhood citizen. If they're a good citizen or a bad citizen, that depends on what they do. That's extra information that we don't have. So C is the right answer here. Okay, now we come back to our chart again, talking about laws. Why must citizens follow laws? We can see if they break the laws, this happens. If they obey the laws, these are the things that happen. So let's take a look at this chart here. Okay, if people break laws, right, if they run through a stoplight, they don't stop at a stop sign, they disobey the traffic light or the traffic sign, what happens? They cause problems, okay? They cause problems. That's what happens if people break the laws. Now, what happens if they obey the laws? We can see this picture here. This is a scale. It's showing 2 things that are equal or the same. If things are equal or the same for everybody, we say that it is fair. So people who obey the law, the society or community will be fair. Also, what happens? This little baby right here, right? That little baby looks very what? Buckled up, right? He's buckled up in the car. He's riding in a special child seat. These things make the baby what? They make the baby safe. So we obey the laws, people will be safe. Down here, wow, look at this. This is looks like a park on the side, a sidewalk, and the street over here, and everything looks nice, right? There's no trash anywhere. Everything looks very orderly. It's very, very what? What can we say about this picture? It's very clean, isn't it? So these are the things that happen when people obey laws. And these are the things, this is one of the things that happens when people break laws. So our unit is people need laws. Why do people need laws? We are all citizens of our community. No matter where we live, we are citizens. And our communities make laws. Remember, laws are more formal than rules. We must obey or follow the rules. If we don't obey or we don't follow the laws, we are breaking them and we cause problems. If we obey the laws, then our society or our community is fair, safe, and clean. And of course, this is very important for us. We want to have this. We don't want this, right? Okay, so think about that. Think about when you're out in the community, when you're out in the society, remember to follow the laws. Even if they seem to be, oh, it's 너무 힘들어, or it causes you some problems. Remember, be safe, be fair, and make sure your place is clean. Follow the laws and everybody will be happy. Okay, well that wraps it up for today. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.